Welcome dear students. Today we are going to study a very interesting chapter from your science book, which is sorting of materials into groups. So, what makes life interesting? It is the variety. You see people of different religions speaking different languages, engaged in different professions, eating different food and pursuing different hobbies. And that is not all. There is variety in all the things that we use in our life. All objects have different shapes, colors and properties. Clothes that we wear are of different colors like red, blue, green, yellow, orange, purple, etc. These objects can be of different shapes like conical, cuboidal, cylindrical, rectangular or round. Furnitures we use in our home are made up of wood, metal or plastic. So that means if we look around, we can easily find toys, furniture, utensils, vehicles, dresses, bags and buildings. Based on our observations, we can conclude that all the objects have different colors, shapes and properties. And if we observe the material from which these objects are made up of, then we will see that these toys can be made from plastic, fabrics, metals, etc. These furnitures can be made from wood, metal, plastic. The utensils can be of metal, glass, ceramic. The vehicles use rubber, metal, glass, plastics. These fabrics can be of cotton, nylon, rayon, silk, jute. The bags are made up of leather and the buildings are made from concrete. Then, so we can observe that these objects can be made up of one or more materials. Therefore, we can say that objects around us are made up of large variety of materials. So what are materials? Materials are those substances which are used to make the objects. The objects which we use in our everyday life are manufactured from different type of materials like cotton, paper, glass, metal, leather, wood, concrete, plastic, etc. An object can be made up of a single material or it can be made up of many materials. And also one material can be used for making many different objects. Like plastic can be used to make a pen as well as a chair. Or a metal can be used to make a lock or it can be used in the vehicles. So an object can be made from different materials. For example, chair can be made from wood or plastic and different objects can be made from the same material. Like window pane and a fish bowl. Both can be made from the same material, that is glass. Several objects are made up of combination of several materials. Like for example, in chapter 1 we have studied that a dish consists of a number of ingredients. For example, mango shake is made up of mango, milk and sugar. So all these mango, milk and sugar, they are the materials for making the object mango shake. And different materials have different properties. Many objects differing in usage can be made from the same material. There are so many ways to group objects, and the properties of the material and also the purpose for which the object is to be used decides which material should be used. So what are material properties? The material properties are a set of characteristics which define each material and distinguishes it from the others. And the materials used to make an object depends on the properties of the particular material and the purpose for which the object will be used. So we have studied about the material properties, and on the basis of these properties we can group these materials on their similarities and on their differences in these properties. The name of this chapter is sorting of materials into groups. So what do you mean by sorting? Sorting means segregating or separating on basis of the similarity and differences. And this sorting can be done on the basis of the shape, the size, color, and the use of that particular material. And what is grouping? Placing similar things together is called grouping. Like in a supermarket. In a supermarket, grouping is done by keeping similar items on the same shelf, which makes it easier for us to find the item we need. So now let us see some of these properties of materials which are used in grouping of these substances. So our first property is appearance. Materials usually look different from each other. Like mud looks different from wood, and wood looks absolutely different from plastic, and plastic is different from metal, and that makes the basis of sorting the materials differently. If we look closely at some materials, then we will observe a shine on them. This special kind of shine which is present on natural materials, or the shine that appears when they are freshly cut or rubbed with sandpaper, is called as luster. And the materials which have the luster are called as lustrous. And the materials who do not have the shine, they are called as non-lustrous. So we can group the objects on the basis of whether they have a shine, natural shine or not. If they have shine, they will be called as lustrous, and if they do not, then they will be called as non-lustrous. So materials can be classified on the basis of luster, which is very gentle sheen or soft glow. And if they do not have this luster, then they will look dull like a wood. This is a wood. It doesn't have a luster or shine, so it appears dull in nature. And materials having shine, they look bright. Like example is your gold, silver, copper, aluminum. Mostly the metals have a luster, and so it is a quality of metal that they are lustrous in nature. And this luster metals lose their luster after some time due to the action of moisture and air, because air consists of humidity and oxygen, and because of that metal lose their luster. That is why we have suggested in the activity to freshly cut the metal or rub them with a sandpaper. Now our next property is hardness and smoothness. Materials can also be classified on the basis of hardness. So what is hardness? Hardness is the property that indicates the material's resistance to being scratched or penetrated or compressed. So materials that can be easily compressed or scratched are called as soft, while materials that cannot be scratched and are difficult to compress are termed as hard. Now on the basis of this, materials can be, on the basis of the hardness, materials can be hard or soft. The examples of hard materials are stone, diamond is very hard, metals are hard materials, while a cushion made up of cotton is soft. The sponge is soft in nature because it can be compressed very easily. Chalk is soft in nature because it can be scratched very easily. Now the next property, which is solubility in water. So the property of substance due to which it dissolves in water is called solubility, and substances which dissolve in water upon stirring are known as soluble substances. So what are soluble substances? When we dissolve when we put a substance in water and it dissolves, when we stir that substance, then substance will be called as a soluble substance. And the examples of soluble substances are salt and sugar. While substances that do not dissolve in water, no matter how much we stir that substance, are known as insoluble substances. And the example of insoluble substances are sand, chalk, plastic, stone, clothes. They cannot be dissolved in water, no matter how much you stir them or mix them in water. So this was the table which we have seen in our book. Salt disappears completely in water, so it will be soluble substance. Sugar, it will also disappear completely, so it is also a soluble substance. Chalk powder, it will not disappear, so it is insoluble. Sand will also not disappear, so it is insoluble, and plastics do not disappear, so they are insoluble in nature. Now we know that the different states of matter, that matter is of three types: the solids, the liquids, and the gaseous matter. So when talking about solids, the property of solubility in solids, then we can observe that few of the solids dissolve completely in water, like the sugar or the salt, and there are substances like sand which is insoluble in nature, and it does not dissolve or disappears when tried to dissolve or when we stir it in water. Then what happens? It just settles down. It settles down at the bottom. So it is insoluble in nature. Now, not just solid materials, even liquids have the property of being soluble or insoluble. For example, lemon juice can easily be dissolved in water. Look here, the juice is completely soluble in water. You cannot differentiate water from the juice. So it is soluble in water. While oil does not dissolve and deposits as a thin layer on the uppermost layer of water. So this is insoluble in liquid. That means not only solids but liquids can be soluble or insoluble in water. And now this is also liquid. Here oil has formed a separate layer above the surface of water, and these are different inks, colored inks, which are mixing in water. That means they are soluble in water and they are slowly mixing in water. So you all must have observed that a hissing sound is there when we open a cold drink bottle. So where does this hissing sound comes from? The cold drink bottle contains carbon dioxide, and a large amount of this gas is dissolved in this cold drink. And that is why on opening a bottle we hear a fizz sound as the excess gas rushes out of the bottle. Similarly, we know that a number of plants and animals live in water, and we also know that all organisms need oxygen. So where do these organisms get this oxygen from? These plants and animals obtain the oxygen which is dissolved in water and which is very important for the survival of these organisms. So this proves that some of the gases are soluble in water, while there are some gases which are insoluble in water also. Now, there are some insoluble objects or materials which sink to the bottom of the surface when dissolved in water, while some others float on the surface of water. For examples, leaves and cork float in water, while rocks and coin sink in water. So objects which are heavier than water, they sink, whereas objects which are lighter than water, they float on water. So on the if we have studied that on the basis of solubility, materials are of two types, soluble, and second type was insoluble. We can further classify this insoluble type into materials that float on water and materials that sink on water. So the example of floating type of materials are leaves and cork, while the material that sink can be rock or coins. So here we can see that ice floats on water. That means ice is lighter than water. This plastic ball is also lighter than water. That is why it is floating on water. Here we can see that sand has settled down. Sand has sunk into the bottom of the container. So it is heavier than water, while the oil which has formed a layer above the surface of water is lighter than water. So our next property is transparency. What is transparency? It is the property of an object or material through which things can be seen clearly, and those objects are called as transparent objects. For example, glass, clear water, we can see through some plastics. So they are transparent materials. Now, objects and materials through which things can be seen but not very clearly are called translucent objects like butter paper and frosted glass. And the third category is opaque objects. Objects which cannot be seen through, or objects through which we cannot see through, are known as opaque objects like metals, wood, etc. Because we cannot see through them. So we can say that an opaque object or opacity is the property of material that don't allow light to pass through them and other objects can't be seen through them. We know that for an object to be seen, what is the criteria? Light strikes an object and it is reflected back. So if it is not reflected back, the light passes completely then we cannot see that object. So for an opaque object, this is an opaque object, light is not able to pass through this object, so we cannot see through this part of the window. Second is translucent. So translucency is the property of material that allows light to pass through them but don't allow the object behind them to be seen clearly. You can see the object can be seen but the image is not very clear. Then this type of object is called as translucent. And the third is transparency. It is the property of material that allow light to pass through them and allow object behind them to be seen clearly. Here we can see the objects clearly. We can see each and every detail of the object, so we can say that this object is transparent in nature. So advantages of grouping. What are the different advantages of grouping? We group different objects for our convenience. We often group objects in order to store similar objects together. In order to make locating them easier in future, it helps in the identification and procurement, which saves our time. Even in our home, we store eatables together in the kitchen while we store our books on a book rack or on the study table. Grouping helps in, it makes the study easier. It is convenient to study. We also group objects so that it becomes easy for us to study their features as well as the patterns of these features. Thus, we can group objects on basis of their appearance, whether they are hard or soft, whether or not they can be compressed, if they dissolve in water or not, and if they don't do, then they float or sink. And lastly, if they can be seen through clearly, partially, or not at all. In this way, materials can be grouped on the basis of their similarities and differences. So that's all for the chapter. Your chapter is over. Revise the chapter well. Thank you, students.